What is up, people? We are back. Hopefully, this stream goes good. I did some test streams to try to figure out the crashing problem. Might have figured out a short term solution, so we'll see how this goes. Just discussing random Miami Dolphins stuff, NFL draft stuff, taking questions, kind of just chilling at this point. Dolphins don't play tomorrow. They got the Monday night game versus Pittsburgh, which should be interesting. The Dolphins are on a hot streak, but they're going into Pittsburgh on a Monday night, very cold weather. But maybe with the Dolphins' new identity, it could go, better than maybe past cold games. The Jets game was, a colder weatherish game, but not quite what Pittsburgh will end up being. It's gonna be like in the 20s. But yeah, that should be fun. Should be interesting. This part of the season for Miami has been a lot more enjoyable than the previous part, so that is definitely nice. But I'm just trying to check my numbers. It says it looks good as of right now. Using a lot of memory. I'll have to look into that. A lot of RAM. But yeah. Snow. Yeah, I don't know if it's supposed to snow or not. I feel like I haven't seen too much as of that. But yeah. I also saw this yesterday. I know I've gotten a lot of comments about Hayden Rucci. He did get waived by the Lions, and he is returning. So he is on the Dolphins, signed him back to the practice squad. Don't have to worry too much about that. After that Bills game, I enjoyed my head for sure, for sure. It's definitely been more fun, and I think one of the main reasons is like not necessarily you have to have a win. Winning is obviously great, but I just think it's the players, especially young guys and guys who will be here for the future, that is the most exciting. Playing better, like playing much better, a lot of them too, and we can get into that. Yeah, it'll be interesting because we have guys that know the Steelers, and they also have, they got Ramsey, they got Jonnu. It's a little bit of a rivalry matchup going on there. Ramsey and the whole Ramsey and McDaniel drama. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. If they're going to go at him or not. I think Ramsey's mostly playing safety for them now, so a little bit harder to just target a guy. But yeah, I just made my first draft video in a while. It's currently members only. It's also on my Substack. I don't know. A lot of the stuff on YouTube has been getting blocked by draft, so everything draft related will be on the Substack. Just my name, same name as the YouTube channel. But yeah. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety from Toledo. Keep an eye on him. He's in that 6'3", 210 range and has the athletic traits and is also a very intelligent football player. He's someone that I could see going very high in this class. Yeah, but just I've been watching a lot of Dolphins film recently. Man, their run game is so exciting. That would be I think the most toughest part, about losing McDaniel. We still don't know exactly what's gonna happen. I think, with how the season has been ending, that they're gonna lean towards keeping McDaniel. I think the saddest part about losing him would be you're most likely going to get a much less creative offense, because man, their run game is so fun to watch. Aaron Brewer is the best center. That guy is so good. Truly, when's the last time the Dolphins haven't had an All-Pro in a hot minute? I feel like the last one was it Tyreek, but even before that, I feel like we just don't have All Pros very often. Brewer should be an All Pro at center. Do you see my question from Robert Hunt in the rookie year versus Jonas Sevi and I this rookie year, and they're on the same path development, or is one ahead of the other? I didn't see that question, but I would say Robert Hunt was definitely ahead. What you think about Garrett Nussmeier, Sawyer Robertson, Brendan Sorsby, Mensa, Aller? Nussmeier's a very late round pick. Sawyer Robertson's probably a guy I see going 4th, 5th round. I could see him being a career backup. Sorsby, if he declares, he's probably one of the higher upside guys that I could see going day 2. Same with Mensa. Those are probably day 2 guys, not guys I would take first rounders on. But they would be the day 2 swings you would take. And then Aller, I'm not a fan of Drew Aller. And he's also coming off an injury. Nervous about hedging our running success on Brewer's health? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. It definitely it's definitely a big part of it. You definitely need to have some athletic centers. We are getting Andrew Meyer back. I think Andrew Meyer is officially practicing now, and that would help because he would be the backup center, and he's one of the centers on the team that actually has some athleticism. So like losing Brewer would be a huge loss, but I think Meyer would help like alleviate some of that at least. But yeah, it definitely relies a lot on him. He's truly a weapon, and there's not many guys like him ever, like in NFL history. Like literally, it's like Jason Kelsey. But yeah, he's playing at a super high level. Center's important. I mean, a lot of the O line are playing better. What first round draft pick do you think could improve the offense the most? Honestly, like a Kenyon Sadiq. I've talked about how tight end could elevate the offense, like a true all around tight end. He's the Oregon tight end, and he has like some dominating blocks, and he's also a very good athlete. There's some tight ends I like. I like Oscar Delp from Georgia. He's another guy who I think is a pretty good blocker, and I think he's a guy who I think will be a better pro than it was in college because he's a very good athlete, like probably an elite athlete for the tight end position. But Georgia doesn't use him a lot as a receiver. I don't understand it, but he's someone I think would be a good NFL guy. I think having a really good tight end is what could elevate the offense the most at this point. Because you see how good the running game is, even with, maybe not the best O line. Like they still have some weaknesses at guard, and the running game is still very good. I think having an all around tight end is what could really be a game changer. You think Waddle gets to 1K? Let me check his stats. Oops. I think it'll be who's the matchups at the end? We still got. Also, I guess weather matters. He's currently at 8-12 with 4 games left. Yeah, I think he gets to 1K. I think he was going to easy get 1K. Before the Dolphins changed up their sort of system, being a little more run heavy. But even with it being run heavy, he's still the main option in the offense from a passing perspective. And I think he'll average. He needs to average like even less than 50 to get there. But yeah, there's some good tight ends. I will be advocating for tight end. I still don't think they'll go first round, so Sadiq probably off the board. But the Dolphins are if the Dolphins keep winning, say they win, 2 of the last 4 or 3 of the last 4, or they win out, they're in a draft range where I think you feel a little more comfortable taking the guys like that, like a Kenyon Sadiq, a Caleb Downs, guys who don't play like the premium positions, but they fall because they're really talented and they fall because they don't play those premium spots. But there's some other guys, if they want like an F tight end like Eli Stowers, I think he won the Mackey Award from Vanderbilt. He's like a receiving guy. I like Raridan from Notre Dame. There's some straight blockers, which is like Cody Hardy from NC State. Some other interesting players. Do you think they will pay any older players next year? Like big money? No, but I think they'll bring some older players maybe back. Like I could see them bringing back like a Rasul Douglas on a 1-year deal. Because corner is going to be that's another position to keep an eye on in the draft. And I like the corner class. I saw Jermod McCoy just declared. Now he didn't play at all this year because of an injury. But man, his film is good. And he's one of the guys, like if you're not picking at the top, he might be best player on the board. There's also Terrell from Clemson, Mansour Delane from LSU, very good. Like those guys are first round corners. Trying to see, is there any other first rounders that I have? I don't have any listed right here, but those are probably like the first rounders. I feel like I'm missing someone. But yeah, then there's some other good players. Like I like Chris Johnson from San Diego State, Chandler Rivers, D'Angelo Pons, Keith Abney. Lots of fun DBs that they could go after. Imagine if the Ravens got Caleb Downs. I mean, they don't need another safety, but their safety trio would be disgusting. These past got some good free agent signings. Yeah, I mean, I would say there's probably some others that weren't great either, but those weren't. I think some of the guys that weren't great weren't expected to be players for you. Every free agent signing is going to be a guy that you're expecting to play. But most of the free agents there that you're expecting to play have done at least serviceable stuff, and then some have been great, like Brewer, Brooks. Yeah. Hoyer was like the worst that played a lot of snaps for sure. But turn and provide a safety blanket for Tua. Such yeah. I actually don't remember what Kenyon City's size is off the top of my head. Let me look it up. But yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. Like to me, size, unless you're like super undersized, and also if you play undersized. He's 6'3", 245, so he's not the tallest, but I think for that height, 245 is good enough. He plays super physical, which is all you really need when you have that potential size issues. Without using the words best player available, which are the priority positions, and does the personnel we are using to support the run challenges the need for top receivers? I do think it probably lessens the need at receiver a little bit. I do feel like the Dolphins should still look at receiver somewhat early, not saying like super early. I do think a receiver 2 that complements Waddle is nice. But without, like, obviously things will change when free agency hits, but I think just looking at who's leaving next year, corner will be a huge priority because all of your corners that are like playing right now, significant snaps, are on 1-year deals. And I don't know if they'll all be back next year. And even if they are back, you should still be looking to corner because those guys are not long-term options for you. So an early round corner for sure. I think linebacker I had as a big need early on. I don't think it's as big of a need. This class is really good, so I would still like to take a linebacker somewhat early, but it doesn't need to be super early now. I think Dodson's really stepped up, and he's got another year under his contract. But I would say corner, I would still be looking at guard because, I still have a lot of question marks there. So corner, guard. Probably the biggest two. And then I would have like tight end, safety, maybe, and even edge, I think will be a bigger need than people think. Because if you really look at edge, you just traded away Phillips. You could potentially move off of Chubb because of the contract. And then you really only have Chop as like a long-term option. So I think edge is like an underrated position. Do you think McCoy could follow us? Yeah, I agree. You think, yeah. I think because of the injury and him not playing this year, McCoy could fall a little bit in the draft. And, dude, McCoy's film is so good. I know people would be nervous with the injury stuff, but, like, he'll be ready to go. Like, he probably could have come back this year anyway, so, like, he'll have a lot of time under his belt being healthy. But, dude, his film is really high-quality corner film. Day 2 corners, yeah, Ibn Isan. Yeah, there's some day 2 corners. There's also like the other Tennessee corner Colton Hood. I could see going day 2. Julian Neal, Kilgore, Xavier Scott. He's more of like a nickel hybrid. There's a lot of names at corner. I haven't watched the full corner class, so I've only watched a handful of the top guys. But I think corner, from what I've seen so far, feels pretty good. I think for the draft. Is there any chance Tua gets his mojo back for a final push? I don't know if he'll get his mojo back. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like one games he plays pretty good, another game he struggles, another game he plays decent, another game, whatever. But you never know. I think if you the weird thing about that, I mean, I don't want to spend too much time talking about Tua. I feel like all people want to talk about sometimes. I just think I'm looking around the league and so many quarterbacks are struggling. Like a lot of them. A lot of the top guys are having some of their worst seasons. So I think that's like the weird thing when talking about QB. And like the draft, I don't think there's some guys I like in the draft, but I don't think the Dolphins will be in a position to get any of them. So they're in a weird spot at QB. Yeah, they have the 12th pick currently. If Anthony Weaver gets a head coaching job next year, what's your thoughts of Austin Clark being elevated to defensive coordinator? I don't really have too many thoughts. It's hard to predict how a guy like that would do as a DC. If they think he's the most qualified, I'm not against it, but I would like to either elevate someone or bring in someone that would run a similar system. So if Weaver were to leave, which, hey, you would get you get 2 third-round picks if Weaver gets hired someone else. So there's at least that positive from it. But, shout out Weaver. He's done a very good job in the second half after the defense struggled really early on, but he's done a really good job after that. kind of been his MO so far, because I feel like the defense struggled for the first half of the season and was very good in the second half, both his first 2 seasons. How do you rate the edge group in this draft class? I'm like, I think it's pretty middle of the pack in this draft class. It's not the worst. It's not the strongest. I've watched a handful of guys, and I would say out of like the top, because like I usually when I'm watching draft classes, I just go through like rankings, and then I like just to get like a list, and then like usually I don't always agree with the rankings. Obviously, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I'm pretty mixed on the guys I've watched. I'm like, oh, that guy's good. That guy, that guy's good. That guy not anywhere near as top as I would thought. I haven't seen the Duke right tackle. I will give you a name though, right tackle that I've watched and I've liked a lot, and I haven't seen too much people talk about. The Clemson kid, Blake Miller. Keep an eye on him. He's interesting. Also, I think the Arizona State kid is interesting. He's a right tackle as well. Utah, obviously Miami. They've got right tackles that are going to go high. Also, I know it could go be switched to guard and stuff like that. That's crazy, by the way. I just trying to get 2/3 last week. Yeah. And I actually don't remember. I think you get 1/3 this year and then 1 the next year, right? Is that how it works? It's not 2 in the same draft. Jonah should stay at left guard. He's been improving, getting comfortable there. You need to draft a right guard to replace Cole Strange and Brunskill when your backup has no guard money this year. And JD has no guard money this year. Yeah, guard should definitely be on the priority list. I don't think you necessarily need to just. I do agree with keeping Jonah on the left side. I think that's you've stuck with it now, and you should just stick with it at this point. He is improving. He still has a long way to go. Now, one of the guards did just declare, and I made a video on him. It's currently members only right now. It's on the Substack. But Venga Ioane, he's the Penn State guard. He plays left guard for them. I'm sure he could play right if he really wanted to. But if you were going to go guard early, he's the one to take. He's nasty, plays with a lot of toughness, and he's a very good pass pro guy. But yeah, there's an Oregon guard that's pretty good. I haven't watched a ton of the guard class, but man, that Penn State kid is very, very good. You said Blake Miller, Clemson right tackle? Yeah. I liked his film a lot, and I still have more to watch from him, but man, he's the guy that I'm like, oh, he's not ranked as highly as I think he would go. And I feel like, that happens every year where I watch a guy, I'm like, oh, he should go higher than I think he's initially ranked. And then by the time the draft rolls around, those guys are like, up in the first and second round range. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a late riser. I also want to say, we talked about receiver not being like a crazy huge need. I don't think the Dolphins would take one round 1. But I just want to put it out there that I do have Carnell Tate, the Ohio State receiver, as my wide receiver 1. Just got to put it out there. Even I think Tyson's close. I think Mekhi Lemon's close. I love Mekhi Lemon. I don't think the Dolphins would take Lemon. He's not what they're looking for. I just like him a lot as a player. You gonna do how-to guides this upcoming year? Like how to, in terms of like how to maybe like watch certain positions. I've thought of doing that in the past. Are they cutting James Daniels? I mean, I think it's just too early to say. I would say I have truly that if you told me either way, I would believe it, because he didn't play all this year, but also like his contract is relatively cheap. So I wouldn't be surprised if I was just like, hey, let's keep him for next year and hopefully he plays. But he has not played snaps in a bit. Yeah, it's not a bad shout. Maybe I'll post it. I could do that on the Substack originally, and then I could post it later on to like YouTube. Which QB is likely to fall to mid-first round? Well, out of the QBs, I think right now, if I had to guess like which QBs go at the top, it would be Mendoza and Dante Moore. And then I don't even know if any other QBs will go first round because Ty Simpson has been struggling lately. And no one else I really watched screams to me like, oh, they should go in the first round. And even Mendoza and Moore, like, I think they're first round players. Those guys are guys who probably should go mid first or late first round, but will get pushed up because that's just how it works in the draft for quarterbacks. Like, would you take him at 12? I mean, if he's best player available, I would definitely consider taking him there. Or if he's in conversation for best player. I would 100% how to position watch. It is a good idea. I've thought about doing this for years. Like, just giving people an idea, especially maybe guys who don't have like it's just helpful, just like a helpful guide. Like, I'm not going to teach people or tell them what exactly they need to be looking, but like just a guide of being like, at this position, these types of traits are what scouts look for. This is what I was taught to look for, that type of thing. Big Citrus, yeah. I have seen some clips of him. I haven't watched his film, but I've seen some clips. He looks like a good player. Yeah, if Ty Simpson fell, he would definitely be interesting to me because I do think he has a fun skill set, but he needs growing. I also wouldn't be surprised if he returns to school because this is his first year starting. But he is a little bit, I think, like 22, so maybe he wants to go out. Maybe he's turning 23. But yeah, it seems like Mendoza's kind of locked up a high spot. I hope Mendoza goes first overall because I would make a lot of money if Mendoza went first overall. Like the only draft bet I've ever made is on Mendoza to go first before the season. And he has a chance, so I hope that happens. I got it at like plus 6,000 odds. But yeah. Any Dolphins related questions? Hey, look at the stream, it's lasting. Wow. But yeah, I'll take draft stuff too. And dude, like I don't know if you guys know Brandon Thorne NFL. He's like a big O-line guy. If you want to learn like O-line film stuff, follow Brandon Thorne NFL on Twitter. He's like a big O-line guy. But he's been posting a lot about Brewer for years, but he's like saying Brewer should be first team All Pro. He even said he should be in the Protector. You know how there's a new award called Protector of the Year. If you guys weren't aware, it's like the first year it's ever happened. It's like the O linemen are finally getting award. Like everyone, like all the other positions get MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. O line's finally getting an award, and that'd be cool. I don't think Brewer would win because I just think Protector of the Year is probably going to always go to tackles, but it would be nice to give Brewer some recognition in that kind of thing. Protector of the Year. And yeah, and Protector of the Year means like just O line in general. Like it also counts the run blocking because if it was just pass protection, then Brewer would not be in the conversation. Three, or give keys for the Dolphins to beat Steelers. Yeah, I mean, it's literally like I think when it comes to keys and stuff, it literally is just the same formula Miami has had in recent weeks. Especially because I don't know if Derek Carmen's back, but when Derek Carmen, their rookie D tackle, has been down, the Steelers' run defense has been bad. Their D line has really struggled. So the Dolphins pretty much have to do what they've been doing. They can't go down. I think when the Dolphins are forced to play from behind, I think it puts them just in a spot they don't want to do. I think that's where, you'll see Tua struggles. I think McDaniel typically struggles more with the play calling when they're down. And I think that's when like the O-line struggles start to show up more. So you cannot fall down early. And if you do fall down, I think you got to stick still with the run game. I think would be very helpful for them to stick to that. And then, usual defense playing better, turnovers. I think the defense is, I think the Dolphins will still find run game success in that game. The defense they're going against Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers has kind of had their number in the last few matchups against just the Dolphins defense. So hopefully they can do a pretty good job. For your favorite tackles in the draft, not the Utah kids? Yeah, because it probably is the Utah kids. But one of them I talked about a little bit earlier is Blake Miller from Clemson. From what I've watched so far, he definitely is one of my favorites. Then, I think a lot of the other top tackles, they seem like guards to me. Like, I think the Miami kid is more of a guard, but I could see him still being a solid right tackle. I think the Iowa guy is a guard. But yeah, the Arizona State kid, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, to be honest, but he is also another name I would throw out there. But the Utah kids are probably the top two tackles. The guy I like is the right tackle from Texas A&M. I don't think I've watched him fully yet. I think I've only seen a handful of clips, but yeah. I haven't had a chance to sit down and check him out fully. But yeah, maybe I would agree if I watched him more. Do you think HN will be able to run against the Steelers? Yes. I don't think the Steelers' run defense is good. I do think the Steelers' run defense will do better if Harmon is out there. They've been better when Harmon's out there. They are also missing TJ Watt. I actually don't know if that's too good of a thing for Miami because the other rushers that play for the Steelers have low-key been playing better than Watt. But Watt plays a ton of snaps. But I do think the Dolphins will find run game success in this game. Who are the pure right tackles in this draft? The guys I just mentioned pretty much. Fano, Blake Miller, and the Arizona State guy are like guys that I think are going to be seen as like those pure right tackles, and that's what they played in college. I'm sure if they needed to switch left tackle, they could, but I think that's what the Dolphins will be looking for as a right tackle because of the Jackson's injury history. Even if they like, I don't think it's a bad idea to keep Jackson and draft a right tackle like early, like having both just in case. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Dunker does better at guard. I just don't think he's athletic enough, at least in the Dolphins system, to play tackle. You think Francis is a guard in the NFL? I think he could play both, but I do think he is more of a guard. What's our biggest weakness on defense? Ooh, interesting. Let me think about that. What has been our biggest weakness, at least as of late? Because obviously coming into the season, it was seen as corner. But I think the corner play has been pretty solid as of late. I'm trying to think, where does our defense kind of break down? Because they're stopping the run pretty well. They're getting back after, the pass. I'll say when the Dolphins just typically bring 4, I think the pass rush could be a little bit better. I think if the pass rush was a little bit better, that would elevate the defense even to a new level. It's still not playing bad, though. Linebackers are playing really well. Safeties, maybe like your safeties after Minka is some of your weaknesses on defense, but even Ashton Davis and Melifonwu aren't playing that bad. Like, I actually thought Melifonwu and Davis had pretty good games against the Jets. But those are probably two of your weaknesses. I still want to see Dante Trader out there. I'm not sure why Trader got benched. LB easy is biggest weakness? I don't think so. Jordan Brooks is like one of the best players on the team, and Dotson is playing so much better. And I was one of Dotson's biggest critics early on in the season, but Dotson been playing solid ball. Even Tomlin talked about it. If you listen to Tomlin interview, like linebacker was like probably the position group he hyped up the most, and he talked about it like everybody. You think the Dolphins will keep Jay Sanders? I could see them moving on from Jason, especially if it makes sense from a contract standpoint. Ryder, would you be upset if we draft Anthony Hill at 14? I think that's too early for Anthony Hill. And in this class too, like this is a very good linebacker class. And Anthony Hill is like, he has some traits to his game that I don't think always translate super well. Because I think he's a bit raw. Not a fan of Dotson. He looks lost out there at times. Early in the season, I would agree. He looked super lost. But I think he's been like one of the smartest players on this team. I think even McDaniel mentioned it. Like McDaniel compared like his knowledge of the game to Fred Warner. And like obviously I'm not comparing to Fred Warner because Fred Warner is like the best linebacker in the league. But I mean that's pretty high praise. And he is the one calling the defense. He's got the green dot. I think his turnaround has been a very underrated part to the defense's success because he was one of the main like target points for offenses early on. What rookie this year has been the biggest surprise performance-wise? What rookie has been the biggest surprise? Have any of them been huge surprises? maybe I mean maybe Jonah being I mean I expected some struggles from Jonah, but being the struggles were a lot worse than I expected. Grant hasn't been super surprising, a little bit of a slow start, but turning it up, that's kind of what I expected. Jordan Phillips has been exactly what I've expected. I liked Trader a lot, so him playing better when he was playing in those recent games was not super surprising, but I would say him getting as many snaps maybe was a bit surprising. Mm. Yeah. Maybe Zeke Biggers as of late. Maybe has been the biggest surprise. Wouldn't say he's been, like I would say the last two games weren't his best performances, but before that he was making a lot of like good stops, and that was a bit surprising. Ollie Gordon hasn't been; he'd been like exactly what I expected. Yeah, I actually don't go to Tennessee games this year. I'm going. There was like a year off for that job. They're doing like basketball this year, not football. But I'll be back next year for Tennessee games. So I haven't watched him up close, but um, so yeah. With the multiplex we have in the draft in the third round, I'd like to get that safety from Toledo. So yeah, I actually just made a video, a film breakdown on the safety from Toledo. It is currently members only on the Substack. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, but it will come out eventually. Hopefully, it doesn't get blocked because all my draft videos have gotten blocked that I've made public recently. But yes, and I think he'll go before the third round. I think he's going to be round 2. Like I think he's going to go top 50. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to first round, especially if he tests like really well, because he's got all the tools, and I think he's a pretty good instinctive player. And he is someone that I could see fitting well in the Weaver system if it's still Weaver around, because I think they look for that type of like bigger body safety that can also play some like big nickel. You can have him down in the box. Like look at what Kyle Hamilton does for the Ravens, sort of what Nick Emanwari does for the Seahawks. Those are the types of players, like because they run the same system as Miami. I think the Dolphins are kind of missing that. They basically use Minka as that, but they don't allow Minka. They don't let Minka play as much in the box as maybe those guys do. They use Minka more as in coverage. Yeah, Pharrell's a big turnover guy. There's some good safeties in this class. I like the safety class. I think the safety class is better than it's been in a while. Like Caleb Downs, obviously at the top. I like Thieneman from Oregon. Yeah, Pharrell, Genesis Smith, AJ Halsey from LSU, Zakee Wheatley. I talked about McNeil Warren. Some good players there. Jalen Husky, Maryland kid. Dolphins just got a Maryland safety, and a couple Maryland players. Yeah, I think the safety class, Tao Johnson from Utah. I think he's a former like quarterback, receiver, and you can see that just football knowledge, ball skills at safety. But yeah, there's the safety class is good, and I think safety will be a need because, a lot of the guys that are playing snaps right now are on 1-year deals, and who knows what they're going to do with Minka? We don't quite know. I would like to have Minka back, but I don't know I just don't know what they're doing with the cap situation next season, so you never know. But really, Trader is one of the only long-term options at safety, and we still don't know if he's more of a depth guy or a future starter yet. So I think safety could be a position they take early. 2 safeties from Bama, yeah. From what I've seen so far, I mean, they're not bad players either. Like those are guys that I could see having like careers in the league. I don't think they're like top picks, but like middle of the draft, wouldn't be surprised if those guys go in that range. Kamari Ramsey from USC. Should the Finns be in the market for a slot CB? Anyone stand out to you right now? Oh yeah, at slot, I think guys like Chandler Rivers, D'Angelo Pons, I could see being slot corners. Xavier Scott, Avion Terrell. If they want to take a slot corner early that can also play on the outside, Terrell from Clemson. His brother is AJ Terrell for the Falcons, their corner. That guy's a dog, and he just declared his film is good. I'm going to make a video on Terrell. I don't know if the Dolphins will be interested in nickel because it depends on what they do. If Minka is back, Minka is pretty much your nickel corner right now. And do they bring Kohu back? Because Kohu is another name. There's also Bishop Fitzgerald. I don't think I said his name. Earl Little Jr. There's lots of names at safety. There's even some names I've written down here that I haven't even watched yet. I haven't watched Jelani McDonald, Michael Taft, Bud Clark, BJ Payne. Those are names I have written down to watch. But does Terrell really fit the scheme that we want? Because Anthony Weaver wants big, lengthy corners, even in the slot. Um, I mean, I don't know if they actually care too much. I mean, I think they like length on certain players. Um, but it's not like their corners right now are super big, lengthy players, you know? Even the guys they drafted, like Jason Marshall's got good size, but he's not like a crazy size player. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not interested because of that. But Kohu, another guy that they saw as their top corner, and Kohu had probably his best season last year under Weaver. So I don't know if like size matters too much. I'm sure it's something they value at least a little bit, but I think they just like good football players. If we release, yes, they get they get 2 third round picks. I can't remember if it's 2 third rounds in 2026 or if it's 1/3 in 2026 and 1/3 in 2027. I believe it's the latter. I can't remember. I because the rule was a while ago when I read it. God, what's the rule called? I can't even look it up. I mean, I don't know. Either way, they're getting an extra third. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen Jason Marshall is 6'3". Isn't Jason Marshall like 6 foot? I don't think he's 6'3". Uh, he is 6 foot. Yeah, he's 6 foot. And then also our comp pick kind of depends on if Nick Westbrook-Akine keeps playing because of the some like just how things play out. That's why you can't always rely on comp picks. Because if Nick Westbrook-Akine plays like 40 or 50 more snaps for you this season, you lose the Javon Holland 4th-round comp pick. So sorry, Nick Westbrook-Akine, but you've been a pretty good blocker for us. But it's time to get shut down and replaced by Cedric Wilson because he's also been a good blocker. And I don't know if the Dolphins will actually do that, but they should. Yeah, I mean, I can check. No. His wingspan is actually like percentile wise, like his height percentile wise is in the 56th percentile. His wingspan is in the 48th percentile. So he's and his weight's in the 37th percentile. So like Jason Marshall is like an average size corner. What would you consider a team friendly contract for Achan? Probably around what like James Cook got, would be team friendly, and it's coming a year later. You know me, I love a good trade down. I would always be down for a trade down. It's just, you know, easier said than done. Takes two to tango, and the Dolphins just never trade down. I mean, obviously we'll have a new GM, so maybe different practices. But I love getting extra picks, and I think the Dolphins need as many picks as possible for the future of this team. Yeah, the O line and D line are really not that far off. The D line is one of the more set positions for the future if you really think about it. Like you just drafted 3 rookies. You still have Zach Sealer for a couple more years. Like if you want, like yeah, you can add a D tackle to that group, but like D tackle is like the one position where like I don't think you need to add. You don't need to put a lot of resources into. And then O line, kind of the same. Like I do think you need to add to O line, but I don't think it's like you know you need to add to the line for sure, but it's not like you need to throw everything at it and ignore other positions to do it. What about Tyreek Hill? I think the Dolphins are done with Tyreek. And I think that's for the best just for everyone. Right, is there a Finns player that you want to do a vid on but just have not had time? Maybe a low key that we're not seeing but is playing well? Um I don't think so. I think I got mostly the people I was trying to do recently. There was some players, like there was like Cole Strange recently. That was when I just put out. And I thought he was playing better, and I wanted to give him some credit. And I kind of didn't do that for a couple of weeks. Dotson was another one, but I got to Dotson. I just did Rasul Douglas as well. Those were some of like the low, more low key stuff. Hmm. Maybe Benito Jones. I feel like Benito's not playing great or anything, but he's not playing like he's playing to like a pretty solid, serviceable level. And I haven't done any. I don't think I've done anything on Benito all year. Looking through names. Okay. Well, okay. Well, 1 second. The thing that I was keeping the stream up just crashed, so hopefully the stream doesn't crash in this second. Gotta get that back up. I mean, at least it went a lot longer than usual. The other streams were crashing in like 10 minutes. But yeah. We'll probably get into more draft stuff once the Dolphins lose their next game, you know? You think Miami is done with Tua? Potentially, but like it's pretty hard to say. I just don't know what they would do to actually replace him, you feel me? There's not in a great spot to replace him. Yeah, no, it's still up. It's just dude, it doesn't make any sense on my PC. I've had to run literally like for some reason, running a game because usually the game that I play doesn't crash my PC. For some reason, it doesn't crash. So I'm literally running a game in the background. I'm not playing the game, but it's just running, and then the game just like, because I wasn't playing it, shut itself down. Just thought it was funny. But if I just have my OBS open, for some reason that crashes. Yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna be doing Dolphin stuff for the rest of the season. Once they're like officially out, I mean, they're in a very rough spot. Like they would have to get very lucky to make playoffs, but it's still been a fun end of the season, playing a lot better. And I will be making Dolphins videos throughout. And then once they're like officially, I mean, probably just focusing on like the young guys, the future guys. But then I'll get into draft stuff. We'll probably start doing mock draft Mondays. Probably when the season's over, but I might even start before the season ends. Yeah, but I'll have mock draft Monday every week. Remember, that will be a thing. And I'll just start doing draft videos. I don't know how many draft film breakdowns I can do just because of YouTube problems, but if you want all the draft film breakdowns, they'll be on Substack. And I'll do other stuff on Substack too, whether it's because like they'll have to do the paid thing for the film breakdowns, but it'll be free. I'm gonna post like random stuff. I'm gonna post like the cut ups and stuff I have too there. Because I have them all on my computer. I might as well just upload them there. So if people just want like random clips, with nothing talking over, just random clips to watch of players, they can go there too. I see writers of it and then Saturday morning films drops their vid right after and Erickson too. I have the curve. Oh yeah, you got to get it out quick. Got to be the first one. Yeah, I don't think they're in a position for a QB. I only really think like two guys will go first. Better, can you make your Minka vid free now? You dropped it a few months back. Oh, that's the same video as the one that dropped. What happened with the Minka video is I uploaded it, it got copyrighted, and then I uploaded a new one. I just had to so that Minka vid that's members only is literally the same video as I posted about Minka, but it's like a couple minutes longer. I just had to cut out 2 minutes because it got copyrighted. So it's really not anything different other than like a minute or two. I forgot I even still had it as members only. Yeah, Sorsby is an interesting one. I don't even know if he'll declare though. And he might go second round if I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Carson Beck is similar to Quinn Ewers. I want to keep this coach stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm there as well as of right now. I think there's been a lot of growth and improvement. Cam Smith vided, yeah, because I had a feeling he was going to get cut after I made it, and he did. I actually have no idea where Cam is at. Yeah, Taylon Green's an interesting one. Don't really see him as a scheme fit, but he is an interesting developmental guy. And I have some. I just don't know if those. Typically, players with that type of play style, skill set don't always work out at the NFL level. What players are you looking forward to watch on the college football playoffs? I mean, yeah, I can. Let me just look at the teams because I forgot every single team, but I definitely have lists for all those teams there that are guys to keep an eye on. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know anyone at James Madison, but Oregon has many good players. They've got Dante Moore, they've got a guard, they got Kenyon Sadiq. Definitely keep an eye on. They got Thieneman at safety, and a couple other players. Indiana, you got Fernando Mendoza, D'Angelo Pons. They got a safety there as well, Emery Farrell. They have some probably later round linebackers that I could think could be interesting players to look at. They also, I don't know if the receiver got hurt last game, but they have Elijah Surratt, and they also have another receiver, Cooper, who is an interesting prospect. But I could see those guys going like third, fourth round range. Trying to think who else was really exciting. I mean, if you're watching Ohio State, you're watching probably someone on Miami, and you're probably watching someone from on it that goes to every team because they have so many draftable players. Like literally every position, man. They probably have the two best linebackers in the class in Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. They have a really good defensive tackle in Kenny McDonald. They have Kenyatta Jackson is also a good player. Caleb Downs at safety. They got Jermaine Matthews at corner, also Igba Nissan. Like their entire defense might get drafted, honestly. Offense, same thing. Cornell Tate's like the best receiver in the draft. Yeah, and many more. Texas A&M's got Casey Concepcion if you want to watch a good receiver. First Miami. Taylon Green needs a lot of work. Yeah, I agree. I'm not as high as maybe some of the other people that like Taylon Green. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I've realized there's just certain uh conferences that I can't do because the videos that got blocked were from Oregon and USC, and they're in the same conference. So I might have to avoid that conference for like draft film breakdowns, and it's unfortunate because a lot of the good teams are there. I already have a couple of those videos made on guys like from Ohio State and Penn State, so we'll see if those end up getting blocked when I make those go public. Hopefully not, but if those get blocked, then it might just. Any college football playoff game? I mean, yeah, I'll be watching all of them, but just mostly the ones that I think will be competitive. Does Substack block those as well? No. So like the Substack right now has the Kenyon Sadiq and Makai Lemon videos, um, but those are blocked on YouTube. Like no one can watch those on YouTube; they're just blocked. Substack did not copyright and block them. I don't think it works the same way. So Substack will get everything. YouTube, I don't know. I'm still testing the waters. We'll see how much I can actually post there. But at some point, it might just all go to Substack. But yeah. Any final questions before I head out? Thank God the stream actually worked. And those vid we watched on Patreon? I mean, I don't know. I don't have a Patreon. Substack is basically that, but Substack is where I can also post like articles and stuff. Just post like real quick things that are non-film breakdowns, things I wouldn't post on YouTube. I'm on Substack, it just doesn't notify me of videos. Weird. I posted the Emmanuel McNeil Warren video there yesterday. It's on YouTube though as well. I'm kind of uploading them to both as of right now, but some of them are just getting blocked. And then if it's get blocked, it's just Substack. Maybe I'll try to post it later to YouTube. Game score prediction and player of the game. Man, I mean, I don't know. I think this one will be pretty close. Say like 23-20. Obviously go Miami. Even though maybe the odds aren't favored for them right now. Player of the game? I mean, realistically, it will be Achan. Outside of Mendoza, they're all third runners and later. Yeah, probably most of them will go third round or later. Wouldn't be surprised if like, nah, even because like Pons is one of their best players, but he's so small, he'll probably get bumped down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. My opinion too is likely having hip issues. It might be lacking his lack of proper footwork. Yeah. I mean, I think the injury thing is definitely played into it because I think that is an area he looks sloppy for sure. I don't know. I'm just watching QB play around the league, and I'm disappointed by almost all the quarterbacks in the league. It's like, man, who would you even get? Everyone sucks right now. That's pretty much QB state in the league. Everyone sucks except for Matt Stafford and Drake. But yeah. Yeah, Jalen Wright. I just think if Achane stays healthy, he'll still get a lot of that work. And he's that guy. Achane's just so good. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.